Oh, man. Adam, how do you see this playing out based on things that you know?
Well, first of all, he has said all along that Andy Dalton is the starter. But he said there, the last thing he said was we have to talk through this the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So what was that?
I don't know. He's hedging his bets
right
there.
talking through the last 2 weeks.
That's not what he's been saying all offseason.
That was the first time I heard that clip, and my first thing, I said, well, that was a little different than what we've heard, right?
Stuck out to me, too. To me, that feels a little bit like, and Dan, tell me what you think here, hey, I'm giving myself an out in case I actually want to start Fields. And should he?
He should start Justin Fields. But I also think he sees what everybody else sees. He's like, oh, this guy gives us the best chance to win because he's a special talent. Yeah. The way I kind of phrased it is Matt Nagy has to start Justin Fields. He's got to save his job. Very rarely do head coaches get two young quarterbacks. Same with general manager Ryan Pace, to get two young quarterbacks. The Chicago Bears ownership can't let Justin play because that offensive line is that bad. When you as a coach put a young quarterback on the field, your number one job is to make sure it's either you guys up front control it. I don't care what the quarterback says. Your job is to control the protection. Quarterback, listen to them. Or equip the quarterback, you run the line of scrimmage. You figure it all out and make sure everybody's on the same page. But when I show that clip and nobody is talking, I'm sitting there going, well, the second reason you shouldn't play a rookie quarterback is because everybody around him is not good enough.
Right.
And there is a legit chance you ruin him. And that's the reason why I say the Bears organization can't play him. At the end of the day, they need a creator at quarterback, not a distributor, and Justin Fields has the creative ability.
Yeah, the only case for not starting him is the idea that you can't protect him. What you saw there, is that going to happen over and over and over? Oh, we don't want to feed him to Aaron Donald in week 1. But guess who you got in week 3? Myles Garrett. Week 6, Zadarius Smith.
Good.
You got, I mean, goodness, it gets worse and worse and worse. I think you got the Steelers after that.
Yes.
It's a difficult schedule. And at some point, you're going to start him, and at some point, he's going to play a difficult pass rush. And I'll say this. People always bring up the David Carr example. Oh, David Carr was ruined because he played behind a terrible offensive line. It's not 2003 anymore. Offenses have the ability to not only scheme better protection for your quarterback, they also have quarterbacks who can elude pressure. Look at Justin Fields.
Thank you.
He can survive. It's not going to be pretty. There's going to be more plays like that where they blow the protection due to whether it's a lack of communication or simply a bad offensive line. But this kid has the athleticism, the mental tools, we saw that at Ohio State, to survive it. And he's going to get better, and he's going to, you need those reps, frankly, and he gives them the best chance of winning.
See, this is the issue. And this is what they're facing in New England, and Chicago, and San Francisco. Everybody wants the young guys to play until then they get out there and they struggle because they're not as experienced. And you say, well, what do you want to do? Now you want to pull that guy and go back to the veteran who would be a steadier choice? And they sign Andy Dalton to a starting quarterback contract money with the idea that they really liked him, with the idea that they wouldn't be able to get somebody like Justin Fields in the draft, but they were very fortunate. And we all know that Justin Fields' turn is coming. Right. But what's the problem with Andy Dalton starting the season and playing until they feel even more comfortable about the offensive line and Justin Fields getting a little bit more experience? What's the problem? What's the rush?
My pushback is context matters with the situation. New England is a completely different continuity and security for those people running and making those decisions than Chicago. Because, Schefter, I would say this. Well, what happens if they start Andy Dalton and they go 0-2 and Green Bay's 2-0? Well, then we're 4 games back in the division. Hey, Justin, not only do you have to figure out how to play quarterback in the NFL, and not only does your offensive line stink, get us out of this 0-4 hole. Because Matt Nagy.
You have to look long picture.